Welcome back, everyone. We've got a situation with Social Security benefits. On the one hand, President Biden has promised to increase benefits for basically everybody across the board, but 100 days into his administration, he has yet to address these issues. And at the same time, he's been pushing for a lot of other spending in that infrastructure plan, that monthly child tax credit, and things of that nature, which will increase the national debt. Now, a lot of experts are worried that by increasing the national debt so much, he is actually threatening Social Security because at some point, the government will either have to continue raising taxes or cut somewhere, and a lot of people think Social Security is the first thing that might get cut. So, is this argument valid, or will President Biden keep his promise and increase Social Security benefits? Let's discuss the details in this video, but before we do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly goes a long way in supporting my work. Okay guys, so if you're a regular viewer of my channel, I don't have to tell you, you know President Biden made a lot of promises for Social Security on the campaign trail. That $200 per month stimulus boost, increasing that annual COLA adjustment, more money for widows, more money for those who have been on Social Security benefits for 20 or more years, and more funding for Social Security benefits by taxing the wealthy who make over $400,000 per year. He campaigned on this, and he won the election in large part because of this. And one of the main pillars of that plan was to create a Social Security tax for those who make over $400,000 per year, which he did not include in his formal plan for the American Families Plan. That speech that Biden gave this week outlining what he wants to include in that next stimulus package did not include that Social Security tax increase. That was not a good sign for Social Security benefits, but he ran on this tax. During the campaign, he said he was going to implement this tax, and he got elected president. So there is no reason to now backtrack and not follow through on that promise. So let me know in the comments if you agree. That tax is going to hold the key to everything else that President Biden promised. That monthly boost, that COLA adjustment, which will be larger benefits across the board, larger SSI and SSDI payments. We need that tax in order to get this done. At the same time, some experts argue that if Biden continues to spend in other areas of spending, that Social Security will be threatened long term as the government will eventually look for somewhere to cut. So is that argument valid? Let's take a look, but before we do, I want to talk about healthcare. Bernie Sanders has been fighting to expand Medicare for those who are 60 years old and to cover vision, hearing, and dental care. So guys, let's watch a quick video by Bernie Sanders, a really powerful video highlighting the reasons as to why he wants to expand Medicare to provide a better life for our seniors and provide a life of dignity for those who have paid into the tax system their entire lives. So guys, let's watch this video quickly, then we'll talk about Social Security, whether or not Biden is going to approve that tax on the wealthy, and whether or not all of the stimulus spending might actually threaten Social Security and put us at risk for cuts long term. We're going to see whether or not that argument is valid.
What part of caring for an elder leaves out your teeth, your eyes, and your ears? It's the most important three things we have as we age. When I first started having some hearing loss, I felt very invisible and isolated. I feel absolutely terrible that I can't hear the young people that I'm around, to not be able to be included in life in general, in younger people's lives. So when you live on $1,299, there isn't a lot left at the end of the month. And I have no option. I don't have $5,000 for each ear. It just is very depressing if you can't hear half of what's going on. It isn't fair to work so hard your whole life to support others in this situation and then end up needing those things that Medicare somehow left out of the picture. There's some issues with just elders being invisible and they don't want to bother with us. I've heard this story so many times from so many elders, and now it's me. I'm the one suffering. The embarrassment of not having the money to buy those things is stuck right here in my throat. I want to hear, I want to see, and I want to be able to eat and smile. We need to support people until the end of life. I'm not near the end of my life. I have a lot of years left, and I have a lot of giving left to do.
Wow, that is such a powerful video that Bernie Sanders shared. And guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And she makes such a good point that those who are retired deserve to live a life of dignity. They should not be embarrassed because they cannot afford a hearing aid or dentures or vision care, things like that. I mean, it's just completely unacceptable. And she specifically cared for the elderly when she was young. And I can relate to that because I did too. Now, when I was fresh out of high school, I was a certified nursing assistant. I worked in a nursing home and I took care of people who couldn't take care of themselves. And I saw how our retirees, our elders, are not allowed to live a life of dignity. We need more funding through Social Security to provide a better quality of care, expand Medicare, and provide more monthly payments, especially when you take into account the fact that you have paid taxes your entire lives. And guys, let me know in the comments if you agree. But expanding Medicare is just one thing that Democrats want to do. Of course, they've also promised to expand Social Security benefits, and Biden himself has promised to do so. But as he's put this on the back burner, he continues to spend more stimulus money through the infrastructure plan and the American Families Plan. And now some experts are saying that this will threaten Social Security benefits. So let's quickly read through this article. This article does a really good job of highlighting why some people think this is the case. And then I'll give you my thoughts as to whether or not I think this will actually happen. Is Social Security actually in danger of being cut? Or can we count on President Biden's promise to increase Social Security benefits by taxing the wealthy? If you plan to rely on Social Security in retirement, President Joe Biden's spending plan should terrify you. In his first 100 days in office, Biden has proposed more than $7 trillion in spending. There was $1.9 trillion for the COVID stimulus package, another $2.3 trillion for the infrastructure plan, and then another $1.8 trillion for the American Family Plan, which again did not include any stimulus for Social Security. Now, when you add everything up together, total, Biden wants to spend about $10 trillion over the next 10 years. In 2020, the federal revenue was $3 trillion. Biden has proposed a series of new taxes, but this will not cover the additional $7 trillion in spending. Now, the main reason experts worry is because the national debt is not just growing at the same rate that it's always grown, it's exponentially growing. Now, when Barack Obama became president back in 2008, the federal debt was $10.6 trillion. By the time he left in 2016, it had ballooned to almost double at $19.9 trillion. So a lot of Republicans watching this video are salivating, like, yes, Democrats ruined everything, Obama ruined everything, but the same thing happened when Trump was in office as well. Trump was only in office for 4 years, half of Obama, and the national debt ballooned from $19.9 trillion to $27 trillion, increasing by about $8 trillion in just 4 years. Now, of course, a lot of that was because of the pandemic and all of the stimulus that we needed, so I'd say a large majority of that was justified. But again, experts worry that with all of this spending, eventually the national debt will continue to pile up and we'll have to start paying this down, and this leads back to Social Security. Now, to compare Social Security to defense spending, in 2020 the defense spending was about $690 billion, but actually when you take everything into account for national security, it's about $1 trillion. That's obviously a lot of money, but spending on Social Security and Medicare was $2 trillion. Now, this article is trying to compare spending on Social Security and Medicare to spending on the national defense budget, because a lot of Democrats, especially Bernie Sanders, argue, hey, if we could spend $1 trillion a year on the military, we should be able to spend more on Social Security to provide a better quality of life for people. But they're trying to point out the fact that we're technically spending more on Social Security, but I want to point out that Social Security and Medicare do not add to the deficit. They do not add to the actual national debt. And that is a huge misconception that Bernie Sanders is constantly trying to point out. Social Security and Medicare have their own tax. So although it creates a tax burden, it doesn't actually lead to the national debt. And this is why Biden wants to increase taxes on the rich who are not paying taxes for Social Security to make sure that they're paying into that system to maintain a lot of funding for Social Security without actually adding to the national debt. So this is me arguing against this article. This article is saying, hey, we're eventually going to have to cut Social Security because we're already spending more on that and Medicare than we do on military defense. But the truth is, this is not going towards the national debt. This is coming out of taxes. This article even went as far as to say that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. They said it doesn't matter that you paid Social Security and Medicare tax your entire career, your money is gone. It's essentially a Ponzi scheme that only Bernie Madoff could admire. So guys, not to choose sides politically, but this article was obviously not written by someone who is a strong proponent of expanding Social Security and Medicare. They're arguing that we need to spend less on Social Security because we're already spending more on defense. Basically saying that if anything's going to get cut, it's not going to be the national defense budget, it's going to be Social Security and Medicare. And guys, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Personally, I think Biden has a really good plan. Tax the wealthy who are making more than $400,000 per year and use that funding to not only protect Social Security and Medicare, but to expand Social Security and Medicare and increase monthly payments. This would allow President Biden to keep his promises, to approve that $200 per month stimulus boost, to approve that larger annual COLA adjustment, to approve larger benefit payments for basically everybody across the board, especially widows and those who have been on Social Security for over 20 years. Approving this tax would allow him to do all of this and protect Social Security by maintaining its funding. So yes, I try and stay out of politics. I try and not give you my opinion on politics, but sometimes I have to because these things are all tied into politics. So honestly, if you ask me, do you want to cut military spending or cut Social Security benefits, I would say we could save a little bit of money on military spending. We could cut a little bit and spend more on Social Security. But guys, let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree. But just keep in mind that we spend more on military than the next 12 countries combined. Okay? So I just feel like even though China and Russia and other countries are competing with us from a military standpoint, we could afford to somewhat cut a little bit to make sure we're providing a life of dignity for our retirees. And I just want to point out that President Biden ran on the campaign trail. He said he was going to do these taxes for the rich, and he won. It's not like this is something he's bringing up out of the blue. He won the election. Oh, now he wants to drop these taxes on you. Throughout his campaign, he said he was going to tax the wealthy, and we voted him into office saying these things. So obviously the great majority of the American people want these things to get done. So he needs to maintain his promise. So 100 days into office, he's done a really good job of distributing the vaccine. There's a lot of things that President Biden is doing well. He passed the stimulus package. That was amazing. He wants to pass another 2 stimulus packages. Those will be great as well. But none of them specifically give targeted money to those who are on Social Security benefits. So again, we need him to keep his promise. Democrats like Bernie Sanders are pushing him to keep his promise, but as of now, we have yet to see that come to fruition. Keep in mind, this is just the starting point. As President Biden has proposed his American Families Plan, some Democrats will push for more, and I do expect Bernie Sanders to push for more Social Security benefits, a larger expansion of Medicare to increase the quality of life for not only the retirees in our country, but for the disabled as well. So we should have a lot of updates. Don't forget to subscribe. If you watch my channel and you still have not subscribed, please hit that little subscribe button down below. We should have a lot of updates in the next few weeks as these negotiations continue. Remember, the first 3 stimulus checks that were approved had a lot of negotiations involved, and we had videos almost daily breaking down exactly what was happening and what you could expect to happen next. So I will keep you posted as things developed to make sure you know exactly what is going on and what you can expect to happen next. Now, of course, a lot of this spending is correlated to how the economy is doing. As we recover from the pandemic, the economy continues to do better, and then President Biden is almost incentivized to spend less on stimulus. This is why we're hoping to get these Social Security benefits approved by the end of this year. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait until 2022, at which point President Biden, we would hope, would fully focus on Social Security benefits. Now, a lot of people are pointing out the fact that the elderly have been getting vaccinated. Over 80% of those who are 60 years and older have received both of their vaccines. And guys, let me know in the comments below if you've received your vaccine. Now, the current worry is that although we've been able to get the elderly to get their vaccines, from here on out, it's getting more and more difficult to get people to get the vaccine. And currently, as of April 30th, a little over 30% of adult Americans have been vaccinated. But the CDC has announced that it's getting more and more difficult to continue to get people to get vaccinated. And we need to hit about an 80% vaccination rate in order to fully overcome this pandemic and fully protect each other from this illness. But guys, with that said, things continue to move in the right direction. I started this channel almost exactly a year ago because of this crisis and because the government was providing stimulus, trying to give you the information that you needed to know what to expect next and know what was happening in order to keep you up to date with stimulus, the pandemic, and everything involving this whole crisis. And 1 year later, we're almost out of this crisis. We are at the home stretch, but even once we make it out, Social Security essentially continues to be a crisis, and we need an increase in benefits. So with everything President Biden has promised, hopefully we'll get it this year, and if not, hopefully we'll get it by 2022 at the latest. But with that said, guys, I will keep you updated. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for supporting my work. And until the next video, take care and have a great day.